Right now at 10, President Trump addresses a joint session of Congress, the message he had for lawmakers and the American people.
Protesting the Trump administration while demonstrators marched in the rain outside the state capitol.
And preparing for next year's flu season already, why public health officials are on edge after a canceled federal meeting. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Eric Franke. Alert day conditions are expected to continue through the overnight hours.
We have heavy rain pouring down on southern Wisconsin. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington has the details.
Yeah, indeed we do, Sarah and Eric. We have heavy rain right now. That heavy rain is going to amount to 1 to 2 inches by the time we get through Wednesday. And some changes. Looks like that changeover from rain to snow is going to occur a little bit earlier, so increasing the snow totals of 4 to 6 inches from the dells and areas north and west, 2 to 3 in Madison, and 1 inch to the south towards Janesville. And then we turn our attention over to freezing surfaces as we go into Wednesday night. Now, Dane County conditions have dried out. At least currently, that heavier rain has moved off towards the north of the Dells and stretching east and northeast of Beaver Dam. But don't let your guard down. There's more rain and maybe some thunderstorms that will be moving in from the south and from the west here over the course of the next couple of hours. Future Track shows all that rain, and look at the red or the yellows and the oranges filling in as we get into the 2-3 o'clock time frame. Don't be surprised to hear a few rumbles of thunder. And then also take note too here, we'll let Future Track run one more time here. Look at the rain snow line progressing towards the south and towards the east into the southwest part of the state as we head towards 4 o'clock in the morning. And as we head towards 7 o'clock, that rain snow line earlier in the 6 o'clock newscast was coming through Madison at around 9 o'clock. Now it looks like that rain snow line is going to be progressing faster through southern Wisconsin, which again is going to increase those snow totals across the area. We use Future Track to show you the rest of the snow, the wind, and how much snow you can expect across southern Wisconsin, community by community, in a little bit.
Thank you, Alex. Well, President Donald Trump just finished addressing the American people in Congress tonight.
No, it's the first time he spoke to both chambers of lawmakers during his second term. The president touting the nearly 100 executive orders that he has signed since taking office and promising reciprocal tariffs that'll be imposed for most of the country's trading partners on April 2nd.
I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. That's not, just one day cost us a lot of money. But we're going to do it in April. I'm a very superstitious person. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them.
Now, the president facing pushback with Democratic Texas Representative Al Green being escorted out of the chamber after heckling the president.
It is the best way to get it across to a person who uses his incivility against our civility. He is a person who has consistently been used incivility against civility.
Now, in his statement to News 3 Now, Senator Tammy Baldwin reacting to tonight's address, saying, quote, "We heard more of the same from the president, pointing fingers and playing politics, not outlining real solutions that help Wisconsin families and businesses," end quote. Now, other Democratic lawmakers were seen in the crowd holding signs reading false or walking out of the address. This as Republicans applauded the president's proposals.
Political reporter Will Keneally is live in the studio tonight with political analyst Brandon Schultz to gauge the reaction to tonight's address. Will?
Well, that's right. A lot to get to. We talked about the interruption there, hitting on Doge, for example. A little bit of a talk about farmers. What were your big takeaways here?
You know, it's not a State of the Union because the president gives that at the end of his term. But this is the president's report to Congress. But it was also kind of a MAGA rally. I mean, in this hour and 40-minute speech that he gave, he ticked off almost every issue that you heard on campaigns. And the things he spent a lot of time on, immigration, you know, and he kind of hit a lot of the high points, a lot of the emotional points. He really hit on some of that. But what Trump understands is the audience. And the audience wasn't in Congress. It wasn't in the chamber. It was the audience on TV, and that's who he was playing to. And so he understands that. And when he addressed the Democrats and kind of chided them a little bit for not working with him, or when he hit on some of the big points, that was all about Trump being a television producer. And I'm not knocking him. I mean, he understands how to get the audience. And in an hour and 40 minutes, he went through lots and lots and lots of issues. And he also used the people in the crowd that they brought in. So people that had gone through different things and experienced different things, and he used each one to point out that what happened to them and how he had done something. He had signed an executive order for one of the families. So he used those very successfully, I thought, to try and connect with America, less so connecting with the members of Congress in the chamber.
Well, we'll keep an eye out on all of that, and we'll get to some more analysis later in the show. But for now, we'll send it back to you, Eric and Sarah.
All right, thank you. And tonight's speech, of course, did not come without resistance.
That's right. Our Maddie Himes brings us to the state capitol now, where protesters gathered today ahead of the president's address.
As President Trump addressed Congress tonight, the Capitol rotunda was empty. But hours earlier, hundreds of protesters filled the building, rallying against the Trump administration at large.
We need Trump out of there.
But also singling out issues like reproductive rights.
If they can outlaw abortion, the next thing they're going to do is take off contraception.
The war between Russia and Ukraine.
The USA needs to continue supporting Ukraine, because if things get worse over in Europe, it's just going to eventually affect the entire world.
And Elon Musk's DOGE efforts.
They're coming after Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP. We work for a food pantry, and it's going to hurt us so bad.
Democratic state leaders urging protesters to take their federal frustrations to the ballot box on April 1st.
A lot of them have to wait until November of 2026 to deliver the rebuke that these jerks so richly deserve. But we here in Wisconsin are lucky for many, many reasons. We get to do that in just 4 weeks.
In the Wisconsin Supreme Court race between liberal Dane County Judge Susan Crawford and conservative Waukesha County Judge and former Attorney General Brad Schimmel.
We cannot afford to go back to the days when extremists on the right controlled the Supreme Court.
But regardless of plans to vote in April,
we're all not old enough to vote yet, so we're just trying to get our voices out there in a different way.
Ralliers resisted Tuesday's rainfall, circling Capitol Square and reverberating through the rotunda.
I don't want fear to stop me. If you live in a nation and you see something's going wrong and you have the means of speaking out peacefully and exercising your rights, why not do that?
Reporting in the state capitol, I'm Maddie Himes, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Maddie. In other news, Wisconsin public health experts say they are on edge after the FDA canceled an advisory meeting last week. This meeting happens every year, bringing in experts nationwide to discuss research for the next flu vaccine. In Wisconsin, data shows there's been double the amount of influenza-related hospitalizations this year compared to last. Experts say it is still unclear why this year's meeting was canceled.
It sort of signals that, maybe the administration is not as interested in hearing from experts who, for many years, have been able to inform government officials on how best to protect Americans' health.
The World Health Organization had a similar meeting last week to determine what strain should be tackled in the updated vaccine. In the meantime, experts say that this year's flu season can continue until May, so it's not too late to get your flu shot. Well, when we come back at 10, Alex tells us about the alert day conditions over the coming hours.
And President Trump addresses the American people from the Capitol. We'll have more analysis from our political expert Brandon Scholes on tonight's speech. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
As we told you earlier, President Donald Trump addressed a joint session of Congress tonight.
And both sides of the aisle are continuing to react to his speech. Political reporter Will Keneally joins us once again now with political analyst Brandon Scholes for more on this evening's address. Gentlemen?
That's right, Brandon. Thanks again for sitting down with us. I first want to start with this idea. You're talking earlier about red meat, and I kind of want to get this audience, who Trump is speaking to tonight and how well he did for that audience.
Well, again, the question is, do you just talk about headlines and kind of the top lines of what you're doing, or do you put details? And some presidents will give details of the programs that they want to do. I think tonight President Trump did reach out to his supporters. He reached out to the people that voted for him, for the MAGA folks. It was a little bit of a campaign rally inside the Capitol. He's very bombastic. He has lots of things, and he does lots and lots and lots of headlines. If you go through the list of the about 24 things we're looking to see what he's going to talk about tonight, a few of them, like immigration, he spent a lot of time on. He spent some time on budget cuts. But there were a lot of things he didn't spend time on after the top line, after the headline. Elon Musk is in the audience. He's doing a great job. Fine, thank you. Boom. That was it for DOGE. I mean, all we've heard for the last couple of weeks is what DOGE is doing and what they're cutting. You know, a line about if you don't come to work, you're not going to work. But he didn't talk about the cuts that are being made to the workforce. So a lot of the details that he has been implementing in the first 6 weeks weren't there. He talked about a lot of the executive orders he signed. As we said before, a lot of people in the audience that he brought in were part of the show. But again, this was about kind of going through what he's done, but without a lot of details. We cut grocery prices. We're going to cut prices. We're going to reduce costs. We're going to make it affordable for America. But how? Where? You know, it talked about tariffs coming on April 2nd. Yep. Okay, that's fine. That's a good line. But really, it's a reciprocal set of tariffs. And what's that going to do to the cost of stuff coming in from Canada? Lumber, aluminum, steel, all those things he ticked off that we're going to need in the rebuilding stage. But they're going to be more expensive. So lots of questions that weren't answered in the president's remarks tonight, other than it's his opportunity to say, this is what I've done. You know, his claims of what he's done in the first 6 weeks more than any others, all the things that Trump is known for, all the embellishments that he's known for, was there tonight. And again, he was playing to the audience outside of the Capitol, his audience across America that elected him. This was in part a campaign rally.
I do want to also touch briefly on what we didn't hear. Try and also, you know, we're a Wisconsin-based news organization here, not out of D.C. What a Wisconsinite would want to take away from the speech. We didn't hear a ton from farmers. He touched a little bit on tariffs that would be implemented April 2nd. Anything that you thought was left on the table from him? You know,
again, this is one of those things where we talked about tariffs and how it's going to help farmers, and they're going to love him for it. But what about it? I mean, is it going to perpetuate sales overseas and exports? Talked about manufacturing, and will there be, you know, some taxes reduced for manufacturers? But what does that do for the Rust Belt? Does it impact Wisconsin in any way? He talked about a lot of the economic development and companies and investments that are going to be made. None of them really are here in Wisconsin, I don't believe, in his speech. So again, this was maybe more of a speech for the country rather than a centric for this state and this state and this state, which again is kind of typical Donald Trump. I mean, that's how he works the crowd. That's how he delivers his message.
Well, a lot to get to. We did not get to the Democratic response, but this is a little bit of a plug that you'll be able to see Brandon often on Live at 4. So check back in with him there. But for now, we'll send it back to you guys.
Thanks. All right, guys, thank you very much. Let's take a look now at your forecast. Alert day conditions will continue to develop through tomorrow.
And we have a chance for snow and heavy rain to pass through as well. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington has the details. Alex?
Yes, and increases in those snow amounts. I'll explain here. All is true. Heavy rain, wind, and snow through Wednesday, and the snow totals are going to be up a little bit. Let's start off by showing you this storm is expansive. It stretches from Minneapolis clear down to the Atlanta area, severe weather to blizzard conditions in Iowa, and it's that snow that's going to be moving towards southern Wisconsin, preceded by more rainfall. Here in Dane County, some showers now starting to enter Dane County again after a brief lull, and more showers and some thunderstorms will eventually evolve from northeast Iowa right up into southern Wisconsin. We've had this lull. I don't want you to let your guard down thinking, well, the weather system is done. There's more rain, and there may be some thunderstorms coming up from Iowa over the course of the next couple hours, and we see that with future track. By the time we get to 3 o'clock in the morning, look at all the oranges and yellows again. Wouldn't be surprised to have some rumbles of thunder. But watch off now towards the north and towards the west how quickly the rain snow line advances across southern Wisconsin. By the time we get to 7 o'clock, it's nearing Madison, snow to the west, and that rain snow line continues to advance. And this is a faster rain snow line movement than what I was showing during the 6 o'clock newscast. So a change. A couple more hours of snowfall are expected on Wednesday, which is different from what we were seeing with our future track model at 6 o'clock. By the time we get to 6 o'clock on your Wednesday evening, the snow is done. Additional water amounts, 1 to 1.5 inches, especially for areas north of Madison. And then the snowfall amounts across southern Wisconsin have increased as well. We're looking at anywhere from about 4 inches up towards the Dells, 6 to 8 inches up towards Juneau and Adams counties. But notice how 2 to 4 inches has spread a little bit further to the south because of those few extra hours of snowfall because of that earlier rain snow transition that we're expecting tomorrow morning. And winds as well roaring up to 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts in southwest Wisconsin, 40 to 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts elsewhere. That's going to blow around any snow that we have, not expecting drifting, but reduced visibilities. When all that is said and done, then the temperatures take a plunge. Look as we get into Wednesday evening, temperatures falling through the 20s, and then down into the teens overnight Wednesday to wake up to Thursday. So anything that's wet, on-ramps, off-ramps, sidewalks, that's going to freeze up as we go Wednesday night into Thursday. Quick recap here. That's a lot of information. 1 to 2 inches of rain through Wednesday. Heaviest snow amounts near the Dells. Increase the snow amounts near Madison to 2 to 3 inches. 1 inch to the south, and the refreezing of surfaces overnight Wednesday. But then conditions improve as we head towards the weekend and as we get out into next week. As I mentioned earlier, March coming in like a lion. We'll have a period of March being like a lamb by the time we get to Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
And coming up in sports, the Bucks with a road win thanks to a couple clutch baskets down the stretch. How the Deer got it done next on News 3 Now. Four teams in Wisconsin women's hockey history have won the WCHA regular season title, the league's tournament title, and a national championship all in the same season. This year's team is already a third of the way there and heads to Duluth for the WCHA Final Face-Off semifinals. Now, 2 wins this weekend, and Mark Johnson's squad defends their tournament title. And as the favorites, you'd think there might be some pressure. Well, not for this group.
Pressure, people say is a privilege, and so it's about what we can do. It's about what we're capable of doing collectively as a group, and then can you go on the ice and execute that for 60 minutes? And at times, we do that really well. And so, as you get late in the season, you enter the playoffs. For this 2 weeks, can you do that? And we'll find out Friday.
The Wisconsin women's basketball team looks to snap a 30-game losing streak to Iowa tomorrow night when they tip off postseason play in the Big Ten tournament. Well, you can expect a big game from Sarah Williams because that's what she's done every single night for the Badgers. And today, Williams was tabbed first team All-Big Ten and found herself again on the league's all-defensive team. Get this, she's the first Badger to earn multiple first-team all-conference honors in nearly 2 decades. High school boys hoops, Highland hosting Wazeeka Steuben in their regional opener, and the Cardinals were flying high in this one. Wes Krasinger drops home the deuce for 2 of his game-high 26 points, and the other part of Highland's dynamic duo was just as good. Michael Esser takes it to the cup with ease. He scored 20. Highland moves on. They'll face Ithaca on Friday. Well, Giannis and company in Atlanta taking on the Hawks. Under a minute to go, tied at 121. The ball finds Brook Lopez, and the big man slams it home to give the Bucks the lead. And then just seconds later, it's Dame time. Lillard calls game with the reverse layup. He scored 23. Bucks win 127 to 121. We're back after this.
Tonight, nothing like a live show, ladies and gentlemen.
Stephen Colbert goes live with former Secretary Pete Buttigieg. CBS Tonight.
Well, Yellowstone National Park began its intensive snow clearing process to be ready to welcome visitors with regular vehicles in the spring. Footage shared by the national park shows a bison. Oh, look at that. A bison pops up.
They're just waiting. You see them? They're like, yeah, we're not going through
The
there.
crews are working on clearing the way using those big snow plows and snowmobiles, but they're like, yeah, we're not going to mess with this one.
Yeah. Yellowstone gets up to 10 feet of snow each winter in some areas. Park officials say they spend about 3 months in the winter grooming 180 miles of park roads. Yellowstone will be open to regular vehicles on April 18th. And will completely open by Memorial Day weekend. It is postseason time in sports. The Badger women in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
Did you say 30 straight losses?
30,
to
I
Iowa?
think 2007 was the last time they beat them.
Caitlin Clark was like, what? 14,
she might not even been born.
Yeah, the last time
they won, but yeah. But cool thing about the Hawks, we got 2 local athletes, Tegan Mulaney and Taylor Strumlow.
I've known her since she was a little kid, playing for Iowa now. And we've got a mess of weather. And when do you think it might transition from snow, ice to snow.
From rain to snow?
Yeah, snow. It might be icy in the morning.
It might hit the whole mix tomorrow morning. Yeah, a little bit earlier. Earlier, 6 o'clock, I thought maybe 9 o'clock in Madison. Now it looks like it might be as early as 7 o'clock. You had that few extra hours of earlier transition over to snow. And that means we up the snow totals just a little bit across southern Wisconsin. Right now, if you're stepping outside, you may be thinking, well, is it done? Because a lot of those rain showers have pressed to the north. But look to the south and the west towards Cedar Rapids. We got rain, and we may have some thunderstorms yet to move through southern Wisconsin as we progress from, look at this, as we head towards 1, 2, 3 in the morning. Look at all that yellow and orange coming back up towards the Madison area. But look to the northwest. That rain snow line is rapidly spreading towards the south and towards the east as we get towards that 2, 3, 4 o'clock hour. And the snow will be coming down up towards the Dells by that time, and then be pressing off towards the south and towards the east, towards Madison by the time we get towards 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. 4 to 6 inches of snow is expected for areas north and west of the Dells. This is that wet, heavy variety of snow. I've upped the totals in Madison because of the likelihood of this changing over sooner to 2 to 3 inches of that slushy stuff. 1 inch to the south towards Janesville. We're all seeing rain right now, and in total amount of water from the rain, 1 to 2 inches, so don't be surprised to get a little bit of ponding of water until things turn over to that snow. And then we have the winds pressing 50-mile-per-hour gusts during the day on Wednesday, and then the temperatures plunge as we go into Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We'll be down in the teens come Thursday morning, and what that means, anything that's wet that's out there is going to be freezing up, so you may have some slick spots on those on-ramps, the off-ramps, the bridges, and of course the sidewalks too.
And tomorrow morning's rush hour could be pretty wet too.
Yeah, indeed, for sure.
Thank you, Alex.
Alex, thanks. Thanks for staying up late with us for this edition of News 3 Now at 10.
We'll see you tomorrow.